Welcome to the Business Growth Spotlight, where we shine the light and talk with business leaders from all over the world who are here to share their expertise and wisdom so we can all grow together. I'm your host, Heidi Schalk. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. We're really excited you're here. Please stay to the end because we have a gift for you that we're going to be sharing with you. So make sure that you stay with us throughout it. But without further ado, I want to introduce my guest because I'm excited to be chatting with him. We talked a little bit about behind the scenes. Tell you that we're talking to people from all over the world, and it sounds like he's been quite the traveler. But without further ado, welcome Shashank Sripada to the podcast with Gaia. So thank you for being here with me today.
Thanks for having me, Heidi. Good to be here.
Absolutely. So can you kick us off, Shashank, with telling us a little bit about who you are? Tell us about Gaia and your role within it.
Sure. So my name is Shashank Sripada. I'm co-founder and COO of Gaia. My background, I'm a serial founder, entrepreneur. I've built a few companies now here and mostly tech related, starting when I was 19. And so I love building. And this company came about kind of unorthodoxically. I was one of the founding partners of an investment firm in Next Wave called Next Wave Partners here in LA. We were doing corporate-backed thematic venture funds. I had been in the Web3 space a few years before that for my last company, quite early, to start in 2014. But I took a break from Web3 for a few years, and during that time, we were building like corporate-backed thematic venture funds, focused on everything but Web3, food and ag, space, climate tech, logistics, supply chain. And my co-founder Matt got me back into Web3. We started to do a venture fund, and then our initial investors, SIG Capital and Bike Trade, they a big hedge fund that first invested in ByteDance. They decided to back us and wanted to co-found a company with us. So we looked under the hood. There was a lot of research at a few different research universities. And a few portcos that they had funded. So we kind of merged all of them together and we came up with a actual go-to-market and commercialization strategy that became Gaia. So Gaia itself, Gaia is an open source developer framework. It's 3 lines of code. It helps you set up your own agent nodes. We do that through essentially a tech stack that's very easy to basically build and deploy agents. We make it cheap, quick, and simple to deploy agents. That's what we are. We're like the Stripe of AI agents. The secret sauce there is the Wasm Edge runtime. We co-maintain that with the Linux Foundation, and you can essentially plug in any open source LLM you want, and it automatically fine-tune to any hardware you're running underneath it. So you can run it off, NVIDIA, all the way up to down to 8 KB CPU or AWS or BitTensor, anything in between. We make it easy to help you choose your own journey and your own use case for AI rather than one cookie cutter approach. And our target market really is proprietary knowledge sets of humanity. OpenAI is great. It kicked off the generative learning race, but it's all script training data. I think it provides one purpose and one thing, but we see it as kind of the Yahoo.com of 1999. It's the intro to the internet that's come to be. It's trying to do everything everywhere all at once. We think that the rest of the internet needs to develop. We think agents are the future interface of how people interact with each other, interact with customers, their followers, and run businesses on top of it. So our goal was to bring proprietary knowledge sets, as enterprises, governments, institutions, individuals, onto generative learning. They've been sitting it out thus far. They don't want rather keep their valuable data to themselves rather than put it on a massive LLM. We think that through open source, which we are, and through blockchain, we can coax some of those proprietary knowledge holders to the race, and overall, it'll benefit humanity. So that's kind of what we do. On the Web3 front, we are an inference network. We allow you to attribute, validate, and monetize the inference of the agents that you build with our framework on chain. And we do that through a domain node architecture. Essentially, for example, Berkeley, where some of this was incubated, has its own domain, Berkeley gaianet.edu. You can access it, and it acts as essentially like a TCP/IP router to route your traffic to the right mix of nodes underneath it. So if you have a chemistry question, it gets routed through Berkeley. You go to the website, it gets routed through to the chemistry professor's agent node. Any additional compute that the professor's node needs is bolstered internal or external to the domain. And then on top of that, people can also stake their tokens to maintain and validate both the domains and nodes, earn staking rewards. And there's also a slashing mechanism that we've built both of them through with the EigenLayer AVS. So that's kind of a light insight into the architecture and what Gaia does, but happy to answer more questions.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to chat because my daughter is taking chemistry this summer via virtual. She just wants to take extra classes. And you just hit my sweet spot because I'm like, you get to get a good grade in this class. So we're going to be having a conversation of how she can get some support in chemistry. So yeah, that is really, really cool. And thank you for sharing all that info. So Gaia is described as a decentralized AI network. So Shashank, can you break down what that really means for people who are unfamiliar with that concept?
Yeah, I mean, AI network is definitely a bit of a loaded thing. We're an inference network. We allow for the inferencing of AI agents on our network, like I said, for attribution, validation, monetization of the inference. We're essentially creating the equivalent of HTTPS for the internet. What the HTTPS was for the internet, we're doing for agents. We verify that you're getting the right info at the right time and that you're pointing towards the right domains, essentially. So our domains give AI agents essentially APIs and online domains to point towards when you want to draw on their knowledge. So, for example, if I am building an app that requires financial knowledge on the latest financial markets, maybe it also requires a real-time translation to Korean language, and I want that delivered to me in my app on my iPhone. Well, that app can ping the Fitch Ratings, which is the big ratings agency. They have an agent that we worked on with them. You can ping Fitch Ratings agent. You can ping the Korean language agent that's on our network, and you can ping those both to be able to feed your real-time Korean language financial answers. So that app is drawing that in real time. These guys get pinged just like an API call, and they would get paid, hopefully, for every ping. So we're creating the inference of finding and matching those requests, and then like I said, monetization, attribution, and validation.
So how do you see AI and blockchain and decentralized collaboration reshaping how we build companies and communities in the next, say, 10 years, next decade?
So I think that AI is at an interesting crossroads here. I don't think OpenAI will go away, and neither are some of the other large learning model centralized companies. They're going to be very large players in the overall, even larger ecosystem. I think OpenAI is great. It does incredible work, but I think we're at a crossroads where, it's been proven like with the launch of DeepSeek and a few of the other open source large learning models, even Meta's Llama, that it's a zero-sum race to the bottom for large learning models. They're not going to deliver the all be everything, do everything kind of approach. They want to be that, but it just can't get there. And we think that Web3 has an incredible role to play. I think a lot of Web3 participants are still kind of lagging in their embrace of AI beyond just the pump and dump, maybe. But it's I think Web3's core fundamentals and technological fundamentals are absolutely necessary for the next step of AI. We need decentralized coordination of agents, of knowledge, and of essentially if you seed your independence and your knowledge to the centralized networks of the world, you're going to have a bad trajectory for all of humanity. It's going to end up leading to a neo-colonialism, this time not with guns and steel, this time with hyper intelligence and an overwhelming disparity of compute. Um, so I think Web3 has a critical role to play in the future development of one of the next big technological revolution.
So talk about the advantages. So what's the advantage of a decentralized model over a centralized platform when it comes to scaling impact and innovation?
Sure. I mean, I want to distinguish here. Large learning models are different from the models or like a model of coordination we're talking about.
Mm,
We seek to work with any open source learning models, and there's more and more emerging every day for cheaper and cheaper.
okay.
Now, the benefit, as I said, is it's censorship resistant. You don't have to go through centralized cloud hardware, aka NVIDIA chips, pay boatloads of money for that. That's a huge inequality there. There's NVIDIA chips are sold out for the next few years. It's a national government race to get them. But what we say is you don't need all that processing power to compete effectively. If you're in a developing nation, or even if you're just not outside of the Fortune 100 and can't afford NVIDIA chips, you don't need that. If you just want to apply your generative learning to a low lift application like college learning or K through 12 learning, or even medical data, you shouldn't have to pay NVIDIA rates. Honestly, performing some tasks like cheating on your homework is incredibly unsustainable from an ecological standpoint and from a monetary standpoint. It's like using a jet engine to go around the block. So what we say is decentralized coordination of inference and compute allows you to use your local hardware, keep it censorship resistant. Whatever results appear are relevant to whoever owns that data. There's no OpenAI deciding what should be can and cannot be censored, right? And there's multiple violations of IP protection that's also critical for the development of decentralized networks. For example, the recent Studio Ghibli trend on OpenAI, incredibly fun. I used it myself, but Studio Ghibli was not paid for that. They were attributed, sure, passively, just because
Mhm.
everyone knew who they were, but they didn't get paid, not up front at least. There's set a lot of fear waves throughout a lot of our now clients who are IP holders, whether from an artistic standpoint or a writing standpoint. They want to own their thought and their likeness so that yeah, sure, if you want to use my likeness or my art style, go for it, but pay me. You can't just create a whole, an entire global viral trend without getting paid. And it seems OpenAI made the calculation that, look, we're just going to go ahead and do it because they're not American, because they probably won't sue us. They wouldn't do that to Disney. I think Disney tried suing them with DALL-E if they when that trend did happen. So
Mhm.
I'm just saying, who decides what should be violated and what shouldn't? Who decides what should be censored and what shouldn't? Who decides the prices and whether the gatekeeper for whether you can participate in AI or not? I think, long story short, that's why you need a decentralized alternative to centralized models.
Hmm. So what are the biggest challenges that you've faced? You've built a lot of companies, you know,
Mhm.
entrepreneurial multiple times. So what are some of the challenges that you faced building Gaia? How have you overcome them? And how have those experiences shaped how your approach as a co-founder?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of an unorthodox startup story. I was co-founded with a very large organization. However, we were funded up from the get-go from that standpoint, but then it grew so quickly. We went from zero to now 700,000 nodes globally and around 43 employees and growing. That doesn't even include the vendors and service providers. And it's a very decentralized environment. We have over 18 or 20 staff in Singapore, a few in Taiwan, and a few in Korea, and New York, and LA, and a few in Europe. And that is a lot to deal with on the first year of operation for a startup. I would say that we're operating somewhere in like a growth stage startup phase. So it's everything from HR to operations and simple communication and maintaining motivation. How do we overcome it? I think, we do a lot of frequent touch points with team leads, with C-suite. We emphasize and repeat the goals that the organization is facing, and I think everyone at every quarter it's kind of been trying to align around the 1 to 3, 3 to 5 things that they're going to accomplish for that quarter. Once again, we do a lot of pivots. They're still early stage, kind of, so it's hard to maintain that the ones you've committed to. But yeah, I think it's just try and fail, and also scaling human capital up. Not everyone who's hired early on expected a growth to be operating as a growth stage company so quickly.
Mm.
So a lot of communication, a lot of right sizing, talent. So that's probably our biggest challenge is just dealing with the growth.
Can you talk a little bit about pivoting? Because you brought that word up, and I think it's important, especially for founders and CEOs listening, especially in the growth stages, that where you start may not be and probably won't be where you finish or as you're growing. So how do you know how important is it to be flexible when it comes to being open to pivoting? And how do you know when it's time to take that?
Yeah, that's probably, I think a lot of that comes down in some ways to gut instinct, but then other ways you can probably create kind of mental frameworks to test yourself constantly. Um, yeah, I mean, I think the pivots can range from you know, uh, pivoting from one kind of conference venue to another, all the way to your actual tech stack, right? I've done many, many times throughout my companies. In Gaia itself, I think it was mostly about our growth plan and some of the decisions we made on when and how to, execute our tech stack. Some of it, like the staking side, was pivoted away once we got grants and kind of support from Eigenlayer, for example. We were going to build it ourselves originally, which is way better. Um, so I think it's always you got to be light on your feet, especially in the first few years of operation. Committing excessive capex and maintaining excessive opex without flexibility may or may not be a death sentence, right? So I always recommend you figure out the points on success, right? Whether you hire an individual or a vendor or commit to a strategy, what is the KPI? And you got to figure out ways to track the path towards that KPI success
Mm.
on a even daily, weekly basis, and write down for yourself when to recognize the exits or the pivot points, right? If it's not going well, pivot. I think a lot of first-time founders and early-time founders are very slow to kind of show themselves a failure by pivoting. I don't think it's a failure at all. You're ensuring that the company succeeds, whether it's rolling off of a non-fit vendor or whether it's changing up your whole marketing plan. Like you gotta roll with the markets, you gotta roll with punches, especially in Web3 where some of it is kind of hype driven, some of it's a fad. Market prices are dictated on that. You gotta obviously decide whether which fads and hype trains to hop on and which one maybe to sit out and maybe go contrarian. So you definitely need to pivot in a liquid market like Web3.
So let's talk about the marketing. You just brought up marketing. So what are some of the things that you're doing or have done to get in front of your ICP? Like how are you staying visible? Because that's important, right? Making sure that you're getting in front of them, the messaging is clear, and you're providing the results that they're looking for. And also on the flip side, what are some of the things maybe that you've done that just you're like, nope, that doesn't work for us?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of our execution on the marketing side has been just through hitting our KPIs and executing. We're not ones to run too many kind of like ads or anything. I don't believe our ad budgets are very high at all, actually.
Mm.
Um, I think what we hit a lot of our viral growth through making sure the product is good, ensuring a healthy and thriving. Our customers were developers first. Now we're starting to hit consumers and retail customers. But developer first approach, our team was kind of built for it. My co-founder Matt is a huge community developer relations guy. Is throughout his career, has organized over 600 hackathons around the world. Was head of community and built the accelerator and head of DAOs at Consensus. Sydney Lai, my other co-founders, also was head of DevRel at multiple shops. And we have a strong open source ethos, so We prefer to collab and then compete. And the way we've built our whole approach is cross collab and cross market. Some of our cap table holders and advisors include, like Consensus and MetaMask, BitGo, MoonPay. I mentioned EigenLayer. The list pretty extensive now of kind of different partners across the Web3 and Web2 ecosystems, and I think that kind of exemplifies our approach to it. Is, hey, look, we're gonna co-market in a real way that's useful to other community developer communities, and in the process benefit both companies in exchange.
Hmm.
So that's kind of worked out for us. We've kind of tangentially people get made aware to us, uh, and then in the developer communities we're very strong. So I guess that's kind of like been our approach. We also have a few like obviously like flagship activations we've done along the way. We did like a Diplo concert at Token 2049 last year during the F1. We're planning a pretty major KBW after party now. We also sprinkle in a lot of like activation with major partners, our pilot partners from Web2 and Web3 Enterprise. I think they all make for great headlines and great traction. So a bit balanced approach, and then authentic kind of founder, C-suite led, growth marketing.
So what's next for Gaia? What are the big goals for the next, say, 12 months? I'd say
Yeah,
2025, but we're already halfway through it. So,
yeah, I know it's crazy. I think our big goal this year is hopefully launch our network so that we can activate some of the core products and features that we have as part of our ecosystem. Getting that network done and the token out is our big focus. Beyond that, we have our AVS launching this week with EigenLayer, like I said. The staking features go live as soon as our network launches. We're also planning to launch a launch pad and an MCP registry that allows L1s and L2s to stake and kind of launch their own agent coins and agent fi on our ecosystem. And so we have a few very significant kind of products being launched and joint ventures being announced. So look out for that. I mean, it's probably some of the largest phone manufacturers in the world. We plan on doing a special edition kind of hardware with them. We are launching a really cool thing with some NGOs that a multi-billion dollar and global spanning, really reaching kind of disenfranchised villages across Africa, Asia, with this major NGO partnership. So we have a lot in the barrel here that you're going to hear about. You're going to be announcing some stuff on the IP and media side with major film properties and IPs. So I think we got it bright and very busy next 12, 18 months.
yeah.
Just got to keep up with it.
Amazing. So what if I could give you a magic wand, Shashank, and you could take away one issue right now or one challenge that could hold you back from achieving those goals over the next 12 months, what would it be and why?
It's a good question. I think, yeah, I think human capital. I think recruiting, hiring. We can't find enough excellent veterans to hire. We've been hiring like crazy last few months, but as we scale, we want to find more people who are experienced at sales and revenue growth. We want to start monetizing even more. We want to implement a better operational structure around BD and sales, and figure out a way for everyone to communicate as efficient as possible across all parts of the org around the world. So if you had a magic wand, if you could do that somehow, bring in the right people to magically be communicating perfectly, that would be incredible.
Amazing. If anybody out there is listening and can help Shashank, reach out. We're going to tell you exactly how to do that in a minute. One last question for you is, what does success look like for you over the next 12 months for you in Gaia?
Yeah, I think success over the next 12 months is a successful network launch, a very strong conversion from node adoption to domain sales and AVS staking and some of the other premium product features, and also just to start to really make that conversation for the forefront in both Web3 and Web2. I think everyone we speak to gets it. Every one of our clients and partners across Web3 and Web2. We're kind of educating about the wheel while building the wheel. So growth over the next 12 months and success is really having people identify that the problems we're highlighting are even problems with their ecosystem. Kind of a it's kind of a situation of we don't really know much about it, so we're just going to go with OpenAI, or maybe more likely just not do anything because our data is too valuable.
Yeah.
So success is being able to penetrate into common nomenclature and really start to sway both IP holders, intellectuals, enterprise C-suites, and governments on the absolute need for kind of decentralized coordination.
So now let's get to the spot where you get to share how people that are listening are like, I need to learn more about Gaia. I want to connect with you. So how can they do that?
Yeah, of course. Feel free to follow us on Twitter, Discord, Telegram. We're on all the channels. Go up to our website, GaiaNet.ai. Please set up run an agent. It's not very hard at all. You don't have to be a developer. Trust us out. Try us out. Feel free to give us brutal feedback, please. Our motto is deploy fast and deploy often. And a lot of times that involves breaking things so that we can fix them quicker and faster and better. So, give us the feedback. We want to improve as quick as possible, and we want you to be part of our journey, whether it's as a community member, as a developer, or a user of one of the agents.
And it's GaiaNet.ai, right?
Gaia.
Yeah, Gaia. Yeah, Gaia. Because I have it up on my, but again, like I'm old, my glasses aren't on, but I have it up on my screen now. Go check it out. It's an awesome site. Definitely go test drive it and let them know what you think, and go connect with Shashank and his team. And yeah, go play around and have some fun. So thank you so much for being here today with me. And thank you all for listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, we're grateful you're here. Thank you for watching us. And please there's a button there. It says a word. It says subscribe. Please hit that. That lets us be able to share this guests like Shashank here today, who are taking time out of their day to share their products, their services, and also their wisdom with you on how to make sure that you're growing. The goal of this podcast is to flip the script and the stats on how many businesses are making it versus not. And we want to switch those numbers to where more are growing and thriving. So, I'm grateful for you, Shashank, for bringing here today to help us do that and work toward that mission. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform like Apple, Spotify, Amazon, any of those, and you can leave a review, please do, preferably 5 stars. That also helps us reach more people and share Shashank and our amazing guests and their wisdom with more people, and to help them grow their businesses. I did promise y'all a gift, so here it is. If you are working towards growing the visibility of your business and you feel like you're trying the things and they're just not working, Shashank has shared with you what's been working for them. If you're trying different things and you feel like you're not getting that traction, then go ahead and download our free Spotlight to Scale blueprint. You can go to spotlighttoscale.com/blueprint and go grab it. It's free. It's yours. Anything that you want to share before we wrap up, Shashank, for being, that I didn't get to ask you, or we didn't touch on today?
No, I think you're pretty comprehensive. I'm excited for people to kind of engage with agents. I think if nothing else, if you guys get out of this, please look up what an agent is. Go look up what you can do with it. We want people building 10,000 agents by end of the year. That agent can help you sell, I don't know, D2C wallpaper. You can go sell your own, your drop shipping business. I promise you, agents are going to change the way you do business. It's no better time to create a small, medium business using agents. So check it out, get out ahead of the competition. That's what I recommend.
Yeah, so good. And you mentioned some words at the beginning that were like, you said easy, simple, and I'm all about that. Anything that helps efficiency, productivity, and keeps it simple, I'm all in. So you said my magic words that turned me on. So I was like, yes, I'm going to go check it out too. And chemistry support for my daughter. So I'm hooked. I'm ready to go. So thank you so much. So thank you all for listening, and make sure you go connect with Shashank. Go to GaiaNet.ai, go check them out. Go check out the show notes, and you'll learn more about our guest today in his bio, as well as all of the links that we have that we can support you on reaching out to them and connecting. And we just appreciate you being here and listening to us today. And we will see you on the next episode of the Business Growth Spotlights.